Hello everybody, and welcome back to JoJo Overdrive. Today we're doing a kind of special episode. For such a long chapter, there's a ton of stuff we couldn't exactly talk about in our initial reaction discussions. But now we've got time, we've had a chance to kind of, like, think back and really theorize about this chapter. And we've got some new things that we wanna go over.
I just wanted to start off really quickly because this is something that happened recently, is that Paco's name has been officially like changed on the wiki, and most people are gonna refer to this from now on from Lovelantis to Laborantis. So it's a small change, but that is, if we ever refer, I don't think we'll ever refer to him in his full name, but just in case.
I think I called him Lovelantis one time in the initial.
I think you literally just asked me, oh, what is his full name, and I was like Lovelantis, and that was it. So small change, but there you go.
Glad we caught it before every single fan translation called him the wrong name.
Speaking of Paco, just to start off, since we're already talking about him, something we didn't get into is that Jodio mentions like he's gonna explain a lot more of his ability. So I think it's a lot more. I think it's a lot stronger than we think it is.
Than just like muscle, like sticking.
I think he's probably like resistant to bullets and stuff. And
that would make sense. Oh, he could like catch bullets with his muscles.
And maybe like fling him back out or something.
Kind of like remember who's the guy? Freaking Craftworks user.
Yeah.
And he would stop Mista's bullets like at the very edge of his skin or whatever. That would be cool. Or it could just be a really weak stand, and it can literally just
I don't know. I don't think it's that weak, because specifically it says, like, I'm going to... It's very uncharacteristic how Araki wrote it, too. He's like, I'm going to explain more about this stand later. Mm-hmm. It's very weird. So I think there's more to it.
A big thing we never went over in the first video is we kind of, like, glossed over it. We kind of forgot Jodio's parentage. We mentioned Barbara Ann and everything, but we got distracted with the song reference, and we forgot about the fact that we don't know who his dad is, and that leaves so many windows for.
This is where the crackhead theories come out.
Exactly. This is where things get interesting on JoJo Overdrive.
Yes. So what it's gonna be is that the U.S. government.
Yeah.
Because they have alternate Diego's body and Diego's head, because the head of regular Diego is like should be still intact, I believe. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna Frankenstein alternate Diego's body with Diego's head, and it's gonna be like a parallel to part 3 where it's Dio's head on Jonathan's body. And then they're gonna revive either as a clone or the actual body using stand abilities. Oh no, it can't be directly stand abilities. So I'll just say cloning, and then they'll have a new Diego who has the world.
So you're saying that instead of Dio's head on Jonathan's body, it's gonna be Diego's head on Johnny's body?
No. Diego's head on alternate Diego's body, because alternate Diego's body, I don't think it's destroyed, does it?
I think it might, but
I thought it was just his head gets smushed.
What's so perfect is that Johnny's head is perfectly smushed.
You're right.
His body is perfectly ready to have a head put on it.
Also, freaking Lucy Steele could have taken it. Could have taken the body with the Speedwagon Foundation, and then they're like, we have technology.
There were theories all throughout Part 8 about if Johnny's body had become a saint's corpse or whatever, and it was at the Higashikata Shrine and stuff like that. There was a lot of stuff that never actually got confirmed or anything of that sort.
It did, yeah. As much as it's our headcanon, it never got confirmed, so it doesn't.
I'm just saying, if his body is like a saint's corpse and like Diego's head got grafted onto it, it could like bring him back as like immortal, kind of like a vampire, right? We're on the same page here, right? Everyone watching is on the same page, right? This is totally plausible.
Okay, no, I'm looking back at it, and Diego's heads just collide. So
they just get obliterated. Never mind.
So actually, what's gonna happen is they're just gonna do straight up genetic cloning of Diego, and then it's gonna be that an exact replica of Diego, or maybe Valentine snuck in a third Diego.
Third Diego? Oh my, I think
and
I
we
would,
have alternate Diego.
I would be bringing up some questions if there was a third Diego he brought in. Now I know this. This could either be one of two things. It was mentioned specifically that Joseph had only one like child or like daughter or whatever. I don't remember which one.
It says at the end he had only one daughter named. They literally say in the final chapter of JoJoLand he had only one daughter.
So this wasn't like ages ago. It was literally the
No,
last
it's
chapter.
the last chapter. So I don't understand how. I did see a good YouTube comment for the last chapter that I am subscribing to now, and it's that maybe it was just how young Barbara Ann was in comparison to Holly. That that's why it wasn't on like the Gashikata family tree, because they just hadn't updated it for a while or something, and they only had contact with Holly.
I don't remember. Is the final narration of Part 8 an in-universe by like Yasuo, or is it like a omniscient narrator type deal?
It's Yasuo. Or wait, no, you're talking about the final narration during the
narration
Joseph
saying the narration saying Joseph only had one daughter.
Oh, that's just omnipotent. That's just whatever.
Why would it be wrong? I don't want it to be a retcon, please. No,
I don't know.
Stop.
It's probably just a retcon, honestly. I'm not. It's not a huge deal.
Unless we're gonna get something crazy revealed, which would be, I don't know what they
like some kind of insane thing, like it's not like it's Barbara Ann isn't actually a Joestar or whatever. Like, but then that would make the main character not a JoJo. So
no, but then
I mean,
the dad could be a Joestar.
The dad could be a Joestar. Because a lot of people like the consensus right now seems to be that the dad is like a far descendant of Diego, but like at that point it does not matter, because it would literally be the great grandchild, or probably great grandchild of Diego.
That's true.
If we're assuming he had a child right before the Steel Ball Run race. Yeah, that's just so disconnected. It doesn't even like register, you know?
How's our what did we say with rock humans? It was
we said
guys
so Diego
women?
could technically impregnate a rock human woman, and then that rock human woman, I guess. So you could have it be Diego's son is Jodio's father.
Yeah, that could be. I was thinking something really crazy and stupid, but we're at the deep end at this point. So I mean, I suppose. So Barbara Ann is not actually the daughter of Joseph, right?
Yeah.
Barbara Ann is just pretending to be the daughter of Joseph because she's a rock human, and she's actually the freaking daughter of like someone way up the Joestar lineage, right? We're talking like
Johnny?
Like Johnny's daughter or something. And she's been alive this whole time, and then she's like legally gone.
Barbara Ann's the main villain.
Sure, man. We've gone under the she's hiding under the name Barbara Ann.
Johnny,
like under Joseph.
Johnny did some stuff with people, especially before he got shot.
He accidentally gotten with a rock human or whatever. Like, totally, that was possible.
And then Barbara Ann, but then my main thing, I guess it just could have not been revealed yet, but isn't Jodio and Jodio younger than when rock humans get births or whatever? Again, hybrids doesn't.
Yeah, again,
hybrids makes it so it can
I think hybrids have different rules, or they don't. But that's the problem. We never got enough of a concrete like explanation as to if.
This is the bonus episode. This is when we get unhinged, guys.
This is JoJoVerdrive After Dark. This is
yeah.
Be prepared for the biggest conspiracies. Is Hot Dog Guy actually a rock human also? Is everyone on Hawaii a rock human? Is Hawaii
the entire
real?
Hawaiian Islands a rock animal?
What? This is crazy. Is that why it's the JoJoLands?
Yeah.
I think it's a very strange title to be the JoJoLands.
Especially when it's just Hawaii.
Back when people, including myself, thought it would be an uninhabited, like newly discovered island that had Lokakaka fruit on it or whatever. It was like, oh, so these are like, he's gonna name it the JoJoLands or whatever, or something like that. But now that we know it's just Hawaii, it's like, why is it called that? So what if Jodio gets so much money by the end that he buys the state of Hawaii and like separates from the United States and forms the JoJoLands and goes to war with the United States. And
Most
the descendant
sane, most sane
the descendant
JoJo
of Funny
theory.
Valentine, funniest Valentine, and that's the ending. And the villain of the part is Funniest Valentine.
Most sane, yes. Thank you.
I'm just saying that makes sense, right? Everything
To be
connects.
actually wrapping back to the actual chapter and what's on the
Yes.
page, the president that they have for the high school is the one that mainly like annexed Hawaii for America. So that seems like that's the reason why Rocky chose him.
Yeah. What else do we got here? How are we feeling about? There's been a lot of like Spanish names for place.
Yeah,
taking
that's
place
kind of
in
interesting in
That's not
Hawaii.
like-
Yeah,
Hawaii isn't like known for a big Spanish population or anything.
it's because you
um,
mentioned how Rocky is taking inspiration from Blood Sun Vendetta. That's why.
True. No, but actually,
that's
like,
why
why
in
are
the
there so
beginning-
many similarities? It's so confusing me. Like they start basically the same. It's really weird. I think okay, maybe it's got. I know that there are other characters like for example Paco, what's his face? I'm not gonna remember that name for a while.
Laborantis.
Laborantis. Like that last name's Spanish too, right?
Yeah,
Um,
it literally just means like laborers.
Okay, I was gonna say something like maybe Jodio and Dragona's dad is like Spanish or something in some way, and that matters. But like, then why would other characters be named? It just seems like a new naming scheme for now. But it seems like a very strange choice for a naming scheme for a part that takes place
Yeah.
in America. I don't know. It's Hawaii specifically too. It's like what's the? It could,
Rocky's never really had the most sane names. Like part 5 is literally foods.
yeah,
So-
but it's Italian words for food.
I know it's
in
Italian
Italy.
food, but
Why are they all?
I'm not gonna, I
Spanish?
really don't. I don't think it's really that relevant.
But
Honestly,
it could be.
it could be.
We gotta predict hot dog guy's name before anyone else could predict it. Frank, yes, the confirmed not fan name.
Real name. Frank
Real-
Judge Overdrive.
that's his real name forever.
So,
we-
what do you think? Why do you think Araki named him Jodio then?
It's gotta connect back to the Brando somehow. There's no
It
way.
has to.
There's
It has
no
to.
way. That's so specific. If his
I
name
reject. It has to be something crackhead. I reject it being just a direct like Dario descendant or anything. That's boring. It's gonna be
gotta
something insane.
wild. If it is a Dario descendant, whatever, man. Sure, it's whatever. But it would be so much cooler if it was something else specific. We need the freaking Dio influence back. That's
Yes.
what this series has needed. Okay.
You know, regular like main universe Diego, like that. I mean, I think it's gonna be something with all universe Diego because main universe Diego wasn't like he was more of like an anti-hero,
Yeah, that's true.
especially
that's
at the
true.
end. He was
I
like
think he was
you were
working for
rooting
the
for
same
him at the
side.
end.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
working. He was
So
working
I think
together.
also because all Universe Diego has the world too,
Mhm.
and he would be the one that would want like vengeance against the Joe Stars or whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
So I could also seeing like Lucy Steele descendants too. This part.
Oh, that's true. We have no idea what. Wait, no. I think did it ever say specifically if Lucy Steele had children in the last chapter of part 8? I think it didn't say anything about that. It said she like died or whatever of some.
It says she died at like
It's
60, but she totally could
I
have had
still had
children.
kid. Okay, yeah. I was
You're thinking of
I was confusing like,
Speedwagon.
Speedwagon. Yeah, I was mixing up
Yeah.
Speedwagon. Because I was thinking Lucy, Speedwagon Foundation, Speedwagon died without having kids. Do you think we're getting Speedwagon Foundation again in this part? Now that we know
Yes,
it's a thing,
100%, 100,000%.
that would be.
I could see it
want
even
to
being
happen.
Super soon, too, if the person with the diamond is relevant to that.
Yeah. I said earlier, in one of our discussions that the Speedwagon Foundation, because it's connected to Lucy Steele or whatever, could possibly be connected to the Joe Stars because Lucy was very connected to the Joe Stars or whatever.
Yeah.
So, do you think there's any possible way that say like Josuke could be in league with the Speedwagon Foundation?
Oh, 100%. 12 years have passed, and he's been trying to research more. 100%. I also think that Joseph's going to be relevant to this for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Even he would be around literally 99, I believe. But again, we've speculated maybe his new version of Hermit Purple could have the
acts
same
the
elements of
same.
Hamon.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't, it could just be generally he was in good shape and he lived till 99. Like it doesn't. It's really not stretching that much for me to say that a 99-year-old is alive. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people are 99 in real life. Ooh, fun
Which,
fact.
with the lifespans going up everywhere, so
That's
yeah.
true. Um,
99 years old? No
that's not
way.
possible. I sound like a
That's not
broken record
possible.
here, but 99?
99?
Um, what what if it's the head doctor? That's the I'm done. I'm not that's it. That's all.
You're
I'm
done.
done. I'm done saying
You're
stuff like
done.
that. Okay, you are done.
So yeah, I'm even going back to the last chapter, and he seeds something in here that's relevant in JoJoLands, and then immediately walks it back. So he says, Joseph Joestar eventually sought an education in New York, found employment at an Atlantic City casino hotel, and became an American citizen, right?
Mhm.
And then the next speech bubble is saying that him and Suzy Q married and had one daughter. So the Atlantic City thing, which is relevant in JoJoLands because they say they moved from Atlantic City to Hawaii.
Mhm.
Um, it's so weird that he
Now,
retconned it, or that's
now
why I'm
I'm just
believing it. I don't know if it's a retcon.
I'm just saying that I again don't know if this is how it's exactly worded in the original Japanese. I'm not gonna pretend like I know for sure, but it could be saying Joseph and Suzy Q had one daughter, not that Joseph had one daughter in
In
general.
part 9, in the beginning when we see it, the family tree. This is what other people brought up too, and I even responded to one of the comments too. You see the family tree or whatever,
Mhm.
and Suzy Q and Joseph are both connected to Barbara.
Oh, that's true. But
Yep.
eh,
That's why I'm like, I don't know. I don't want this to be one of the main things that people think of like for 80 chapters and it's just like not relevant. It's just a
it's
retcon.
feeling like another flashback man over here. It's feeling
This
like
it
he just
definitely
wanted a
is.
second.
I
Yeah.
just find it interesting because he literally walked it back one chapter later. And so it's weird that he was like, oh, I want it to be Joseph's descendants.
Mhm.
And then was like, but I'm not going to include that he had another daughter. It literally could have just been a blank spot on
Yeah.
the family
There
tree
were
in the
so
last
many blank
chapter of
spots.
Julian. And so for him to just completely be like, oh yeah, Holly's the only thing.
I think it has to do
So
something
weird.
he wanted to make it like Joseph's grandson specifically. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but he wanted that Joseph connection.
Which is why Joseph will appear. I'm confident.
That makes sense. I think
Even if it was just flashbacks more, I think he'll appear.
seeing an old Joseph with design would be fun, but like, alternate old Joseph.
Same hair. It'd be
Same-
hilarious.
Same exact hair, yeah.
Yeah.
So do we think that we talked a ton about like, oh, who's gonna be at the
house.
the house or whatever, but we never actually discussed the possibilities of like, what if it's just a completely new character? Like, how would we feel about?
I could see it even
that?
being something like just a random person from the Speedwagon Foundation, even.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of like, are there any other avenues we're not thinking of that could possibly like derail the story?
I mean, it literally could just be generic, very strong stand user villain, takes them out, and that's an issue. But I just think the way he framed it is obviously hinting at Josuke, even though I think it's Joshu. The way he's framing it is making the audience lead them to believe it's Josuke.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay, so we lightly mentioned the similarities between Dragona's design and like Sandman. Is there a possibility that the dad could be connected like ages down the line to Sandman or Sandman's sister in any sort of way?
I doubt it.
Also,
it
would
would
that
be
even
cool,
matter?
but like it wouldn't matter. Yeah, the whole point, I guess, you could connect it back because Sandman wanted to become really rich to, like, buy the land or whatever, so they could keep it as Native American land. But 100 years later, it's not relevant in the JoJo universe because
it
they
just
didn't buy
feels
the land. Sandman died, and he never got the money, and he never got to buy the land.
the design is just so specific though. It just intrigues me so much.
I just think it's him using this just things he likes to use. I don't know.
Okay, that's fair enough.
We could see, but originally people were like, it's a snake tattoo, and the snake tattoo isn't there. It's a dragon tattoo instead.
It's a dragon,
and all it is the 3 lines, which I'm like, it's just him.
But like
wanting to use
no
3
other
lines.
character has it. It just keeps on like hitting my brain. Like there's something more that I'm missing or something.
I mean, maybe, but I don't think so.
I just it seems so specific that he leaves the dad out intentionally, that it has to be connected to something, right? We gotta figure that out.
I do think it does have to connect to something, but I really don't want this to become like the obsessive thing, and then it ends up being not relevant.
But his name is Jodio.
His name's Jodio. Yeah.
His name
if
is
his name if his name is Jodio, I don't think his dad would be relevant. But specifically, that is him. His name is Jodio.
If his name was even like Giorno Joestar, I would be like, okay, whatever. It's just the Giorno equivalent because it's the same name, but it's a completely different like thing. But his name is Joe Dio. It's a completely new name that he intentionally had to select out of every single possible name he could have gave him, and he intentionally put the word Dio in there. There has to be something there. There's a lot we can work with here.
Guys, he put a flashback man here in the beginning of part 8. This has to mean something later.
But like that's, but like all the Josuke stuff actually matter.
I get it. Yeah. So the person in the house, I don't think we really went over. It could be like Tsurugi too.
Oh yeah, Tsurugi.
Paper Moon King,
strong.
powerful. It's the 12-year-old Higashikata that has King Crimson.
Yes. How would I feel about that? I'm not sure. I'm still conflicted because.
Well, no, I do think that's like a decently likely thing, but I don't think that that's who it is, because it would mean a 12-year-old going alone.
Yeah. Ever unless they freaking sneak him in through customs or whatever, put him in a suitcase and just like fly him over. I don't know, man.
We're like reaching.
Who here's still watching this? What are you guys thinking right now? If you guys at this point in the video, please leave a comment below telling us the most crackhead theory you've ever heard in your life before about part 9. I wanna hear if you can somehow beat us. I don't think it's possible, but go ahead and try.
Yes.
King Crimson has the name King in it though. Like
yeah, no, that's why it makes sense, and also the birth was super messed up.
But ever since Soft and Wet Go Beyond didn't have King in the name, it's kind of like sown doubt into me. Like, does he actually?
No, but if it's an actual like blood Higashikata, then I think he does care. Okay. He did do space trucking at the end. Don't forget.
That's true.
I just am so fascinated by the staying here alone thing. That's why I'm almost completely rolling out Josuke now. I think Araki wants us to think it's Josuke, and I think Joshu, Yasuo, and Tsurugi are all more likely.
Yeah. That.
And then you can have Yasuo use Go Beyond from across the world, which would be hilarious. Joshu, though, every like quality here, Joshu fits, where it's like it would be a Higashikata member, so they have the house. He would be the kind of guy to bring a diamond somewhere. He would probably be the head of the fruit parlor now, so he'd want to travel to different places for it. They had the whole bit with this is the least likely like link to it, but the whole bit of him not wanting to travel to Hawaii. So of course it would be hilarious if he did.
It's just all we know is that it's one Japanese person. They have a diamond. It's not that much to work off of, but it's enough to be like a lot of characters wouldn't go alone. It's just so weird.
Do you think that okay, this is interesting too. So it says that the Japanese person is plans to stay in Hawaii for 15 days, but it says based on their arrival time, there's about 12 days of their stay remaining, meaning that they've already been in Hawaii for 3 days. Do you think that's relevant at all?
I don't think it's too relevant, but it just kind of implies that I don't know what they're doing here. If it is,
I would also like to mention that right now the story is taking place on Oahu, and the house is on main island Hawaii, so they're gonna have to travel probably by plane. I honestly think that we are gonna reach the house next chapter. I think it'll just be the cliffhanger is like who it is. Because I see some people speculating like the entire next chapter is gonna be them traveling there, but like I doubt
There's
it.
not a lot that could go on there unless we're doing like a
Unless it's gonna be a boat thing, but why would they do that? The flights to Hawaii are literally like half an hour long.
even if we do a boat, it doesn't. There would have to be an event that happens on the boat
A
in order
stand user
to
villain,
stretch
but
it. Yeah,
I mean another parallel to part 5 where they fight on a boat.
that's
As
true. At
their,
the
like, first
beginning,
big
they fight on
fight
the boat.
as a team.
I didn't even think about that. If we're going after the first thing, but
But it is interesting that he was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have the villa be on main island Hawaii instead of already on the island we're already doing. Yeah.
If we're thinking about like part 5 and everything like that, I'd like to think that it's like super connected or whatever. But even like part 7, which had like at the beginning of the
Direct
story,
parallels,
every other character was a different alternate universe version. Even then, the actual plot itself did not connect at all.
The only thing that's the closest is the final fight with the world paralleling to part 3, and also just the ultimate battle of Johnny versus or not John, Jonathan versus Dio.
Yeah,
at the end of it, but it's just more. Yeah, I don't think it'll be direct plot lines lifted. That would be kind of redundant.
Chapter 1 of JoJoLands being so like similar to the beginning plot of part 5 is actually like far more connection to alternate universe part than we've had practically ever. This is the most
literally
like,
ever
direct plot has seemed similar. That's why it's making me think that there's got to be some sort of shift here. There's got to it feels too obvious, right? It feels like there's got to be some sort of twist here we're not expecting.
And that's why I think, I mean, who else could it be that would? Could it be like?
And why would they be here? The only one I could.
Why would they be here with the diamond?
Yeah, that's the one I hear a lot is it's Yasuho with an engagement ring. That's the diamond. The picture of the diamond they have showed it not on a ring, but it could be a picture from like way earlier.
Also, let's be real here. In a 12-year time gap, you're saying just now she's proposing or he's proposing?
No,
to
I'm just saying.
Yasuo?
I'm saying she's wearing the ring.
Oh,
at
got
all
it.
times,
That's true. That's true.
They've been married for
people that have wedding rings don't have to report it to customs.
That could just literally be a Rocky slipping up. You realize, right?
I think. I don't know. I think it's Joshu. There's literally no other character that can be relevant here.
And why is he in Hawaii? I mean, I know there's the whole gag about never wanting to go to
Hawaii. The fruit parlor.
But...
It could be just him getting new fruits for the fruit parlor.
Oh, that's true. He could be getting. That's true. I would want it to be Yasuho. That would be the most fun, but it doesn't. I hope.
Also, it would parallel Koichi in part 5 again.
But more connection. But again,
then are we just retreading everything?
Yeah. It feels like we're going in circles here. It feels like no matter who it is, there's something that doesn't fit right. Which I don't want it to be someone random, but it feels too specific. I'm gonna go insane. I'm going to Jolan mode.
It could be a random new character that is either related to or just like has a super powerful stand. Like maybe it's the main villain already. I doubt it. I think we are in agreement that it's not just going to be a villain of the week stand user. That is not going to be relevant and get defeated. Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be like. I don't think he'd put this much emphasis on how dangerous this heist ended up being if it was just a first encounter heist.
Also, like I said previously, they would literally just like directly address who the person is if Araki wasn't trying to hide it.
And they're not doing that. So
like if you're doing a real burglary mission and you know exactly who they are and everything, Araki is. You would think they'd be like, their name is blah blah blah.
Yeah, come on, we've seen Mission Impossible. They got all the details. Yeah, they got every single.
You know what I mean? They
like,
say what their job is.
Yeah, exactly.
So it feels like Araki is trying to hide that from us.
Yeah, absolutely. Either way, I'm so excited to see what happens with that.
I know. I just getting able to experience this in real time is crazy, and having like all of these like preconceived notions of characters, even pre-release people having like. Frank's gonna be just a villain of the week, and then now we know he's not going to be a villain of the week.
His design just like irradiated villain of the week energy, and yet already first it looks like he's gonna stay with the team for
Or even
a
just the
while.
hilarious theories of Paco being Emporio because of having a hat.
Having a hat, you know,
Yes, he's hilarious.
famous thing that only Emporio did, and not any other characters such as Jotaro Kujo or a guy
No,
with
it's a baseball hat.
That's the guy. I actually hold on. I just remembered the Kraftwerk user also had a baseball hat, like a trucker hat, in the when his first appearance. Oh my god, that makes
There we go.
connects. It's Emporio, guys. What if it does end up being Emporio though? How would you feel about that? Like,
I'm just
alternate
saying,
universe
if you made it so that, or it's actually original universe Emporio.
Okay, if it's original universe Emporio, and this part will be bad. This part will just be flat out bad.
And the stand, he's actually not showing his full extent of abilities, and he can just like absorb items into himself. Burning down the house with the body.
Hustling down the house, yeah.
Hustling down the house.
Okay, sure.
Whistling in the dark.
Yeah, shut up. No one gets that except for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so, last little crackhead thing that I remembered is that the color page spread at the very beginning of this part shows a volcano like erupting or whatever, and
there's the shot of him jumping. Near the volcano.
And with the volcano, which probably is just, oh, Hawaii has volcanoes. He showed it's Hawaii. He wanted to draw a volcano. But I think it's what if it's like foreshadowing something happening to the island, that they have to leave the island, and that's how they get to the JoJoLands. Like Hawaii. Yeah, I can see that too. Like their home is destroyed by lava or something like that, and they have to leave, and that's what the shot in the boat was.
I also find it interesting that the only two people in the boat are Jodio and Dragona. So what if Araki just goes like insane and kills off Paco and Frank?
That's what I'm kind of scared of. Like when he was saying that
I think he could kill one of them.
People. I think one of them is gonna die. I genuinely I think he's introducing these guys to.
Obviously, Jodio's safe, but I legitimately think even Dragona isn't safe. And I know people don't want to hear that, but I think all three of them are on the chopping block. I think Dragona's the least likely, mind you.
Yeah. I think, but honestly, genuinely, I have no idea why I thought this. It seems like he's leaning into Frank being the most killable in this narrative. He doesn't get a name in the first chapter. He doesn't get a stanchion in the first chapter.
Goofy
he's super stupid. It seems like, oh, this is the most expendable, which makes you think it's gonna be Paco, which makes you think Paco's gonna get murked at the beginning of this, which sucks because I love his design so much, and even Araki said he loved drawing him.
If his stand ability is just what we're seeing at face value, like that does not have a lot of utilities. I could also see it being a thing where Paco gets separated from them for a long period of time.
Or Paco, what if Paco's like, okay, we said that it shows in like the narration bubble from Jodio that Paco like left for a while or whatever. What if Paco is like gonna like betray them or whatever, like Fugo originally was supposed to in part 5.
That could be cool.
Paco like in his time away kind of like got in league with like cops or something and is now like
or even more just like a even more legit gangster instead of like the side hustle.
After hearing this mission, he alerted the cops ahead of time, and now there's gonna be a whole like SWAT operation there to get them, and they're gonna have to, but they're gonna have to like stand their way out. But it's gonna
that would make it super interesting, and you wouldn't even the tourists could be totally irrelevant at that point.
I'm just saying, Paco does look like a pretty good villain design too. The eye makeup feels like a specific thing.
Totally the eyes, and he never comes across as sympathetic in the chapter either. Like they have the whole thing where it's like his dad beat him or whatever.
Yeah.
But like the characters do not like him. Like Jodio, obviously, when Jodio's like he's not, I wouldn't call him my friend or whatever. That's obviously you're supposed to be like, oh, but later on they'll become friends. But like, what if they don't?
I'm liking my Paco traitor theory. I'm a fan.
I like that too.
It seems like specifically now that I'm like thinking back to it, you mentioned like his dad beats him or whatever, like he bit off his ear or something, like part of it or whatever. That seems like such a specific thing where it's like a villain backstory that will get explained later or whatever. We'll get that event shown to us later after we know he's like a bad guy or something. Or absolutely nothing happens with this, but it would be fun. I always loved the original idea of Fugo betraying the team. It just sucks that Araki like didn't want to do that because he was feeling like really down in the dumps, as we say. Um,
Do you think that what if we don't have like a stand for Frank? What if he's like the guy in the chair that's like outside in the van,
ooh,
like
that's
as they're like
true.
infiltrating?
He's like super into tech and everything.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, so alternate universe Polpo or whatever was Marilyn was her name?
Meryl make you.
Meryl. Yeah, okay. Um, she said that Frank was not like a druggie or whatever. He said it wasn't like he
Like
wasn't.
they literally, it's like he buys drugs, but he doesn't use them or whatever.
Yeah,
He's not a drug addict, and
what
he's
is
like
he?
really good in school.
Then what's he using them for? Is he just reselling them? Is that it?
Or it could just be him wanting to be cool.
Well, that's true. It just feels super weird. Why would he be buying the drugs then? He could resell them for a higher price, but it feels like this whole operation is so like tightly knit that wouldn't be able to happen or whatever.
I did see a theory from the folks over at Jokakaka
Yeah.
that it could be Meryl McHugh's son.
Oh, that makes sense.
But I feel like the people would know that though. Like they would know that if they all go to school together.
That's true.
So I don't know.
They kind of look similar. The eyebrows look pretty similar. Looking back and forth. However, he draws faces pretty similar, not exactly the same. Rocky is pretty. He has a few different genres of faces he gives people, and they fall under the same category. But
I really just think it's him. I think it's just him buying it to seem cool to the others.
We never got
Just
a
a
name
weird
for
kid.
him. That's what.
I just don't think we got around to it.
It just seems weird.
Well-
But like we talked to him a bunch during the chapter, it just seems. What if his name is an alternate universe counterpart to something? It doesn't have to be major, but it could be something. I don't know what, but. He
I mean, I
has
think it
King
would-
Crimson.
No, I know people were saying. There have been theories of him being.
He's like Doppio, and he like
Doppio,
changes to his
yeah.
alternate personality and gets really serious and everything. But then again, if he had
And
that
to be fair, think about this. He would have the perfect transformation thing too, because he could just take off
his skin
the suit,
yeah.
and so his hair would
That's
like
true.
come
His
out.
hair would like droop down. Okay, that kind of
Yeah.
would go hard though. But then again, it wouldn't make sense as
He would
to
not be that overt.
if he had
either, I
King
don't think.
Crimson. Why the hell would the mission be so difficult?
Yeah, King Crimson's busted.
Yeah.
So no, he doesn't have it yet. Maybe. No, I
He
really
just
don't
has
think so.
epitaph. You think maybe?
No, I don't think he has anything. I don't think he has a stand at the moment.
I think he has a stand. I don't think there's any reason why Meryl would put him on the team. Unless, does Meryl even know about stands? Maybe not.
I mean, I think Meryl's a stand user. Yeah, I would. There's no way.
It would just be so weird. Do you think? Ooh. Okay, if we're going back to Polpo again, I don't want to be too like it's gonna happen exactly like what happened in part 5 because they're exactly 1-to-1. But if we're thinking about it, if we're thinking that Meryl's alt Polpo or whatever, the first thing Polpo does is do like a test, right? Polpo is
This
the
could be a
villain.
test,
This could
yeah.
be Meryl's stand operating in the house, and they have to survive, and that's like the test or whatever. And that's how she because we know that she runs more than just the school and like the clothing shop or whatever.
She has a million
She
jobs,
has a
basically.
different jobs, so she could be in something a much bigger drug empire or something, and she could be like the survivors of this mission will be allowed to move up or whatever. That could definitely be
Maybe.
possible. Black Sabbath is fun. I'm not saying it would be all black. I'm not saying it would be exactly Black Sabbath.
I
saying
just
it would
think
be
that
like
becomes
VR.
literally he's rehashing and rewriting part 5 at that point.
That's fair.
I truly I think it's gonna be Joshu. And I do find it interesting though to think of like other routes it could go, you know, with it. Like, how do you make it interesting if it's just a random person? You know, I mean, you can make it interesting by have it be a cool villain, period. But just the way it's framed with his storytelling, it makes it seem like it's gonna be someone.
Mhm.
We're in agreement. Next chapter, we find out who it is, right?
Yes, I don't think we'll.
Yeah.
I don't think the entire mission goes under. We don't finish it. We don't finish it by next chapter. I think we find out who it is by next chapter, though. I think we're gonna have. I don't think there's gonna be a transition arc. I don't think there's gonna be like we had to fly over to the different island and we fought someone there. I think it's gonna be like a speech bubble saying we flew to the island, and then
I wanted to bring something up about Frank too.
Yeah.
And this is kind of maybe answering your question.
Yeah.
Meryl McHugh's like, oh, it'll be fine. It's not like he's a drug addict. What if that's just she doesn't know?
Oh, that could also be it. Never mind. You're right.
Yeah. I think people. She goes, oh, it'll be fine. It's not like he's a drug addict, and then he's a drug addict. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
he's a good student, it says, but it could be that he's just completely unhinged. He feels like the one to make the whole plan go off the rails because the other three seem like tuned into like this is what we're doing, you know.
Yeah.
And
loose cannon,
Jodio and Dragona are the only two seen on the boat in the first 2-page spread.
In the first 2-page spread, but at the same time, that could just be a artistic spread, like he does. Like the volume, who's on the volume covers doesn't predict who's gonna die.
Yeah,
It's just like,
no, I
these
agree
are
with
the
you.
main two. Let's put them on a boat in front of an exploding volcano because it's Hawaii and it has volcanoes. That looks cool. Let's do it. Give it a color. There you go.
He clearly wants to bring back the volcano motif though, because he has Jodio like run up for in like kind of the imagination part where he's like talking about.
I bet we'll have something relating to that. But
Like part 2, guys, it's all parallels. All of the story points are not unique and completely copied from other parts.
Absolutely, completely copied. All right. Well, I don't have that much else to say at the moment.
Yeah, I think I'm just so ready for this next chapter to see what we're gonna get.
All right. Well, thank you guys. The wait for the next chapter will be excruciating, but in the meantime, we'll be sending you videos, so be sure to watch them. This is JoJo Overdrive signing off. Shake it like it's heat. Overdrive. Coming through now. Coming through now. Coming through. Watch where you're going. Overdrive. Let the downside up to top notch. Whatever haters do.